Most of you here tonight know Dr. Merrill and Rhoda Abeshaus. But let me give you my personal take on them. Merrill and Rhoda, you are the original ambassadors of Judaism in Flagstaff. I can comfortably say that there is no one that has single-handedly impacted Jewish life in Flagstaff as much as yourselves. Starting with services in your own home and eventually founding the very first synagogue in Flagstaff, to the countless time and energy that you put into helping the small Jewish community of Flagstaff grow. Merrill, there is something that you and Chabad rabbis have in common. That is looking in phone books to find Jewish-sounding last names and trying to encourage them to come participate in the synagogue. Some people move to a small town with no Jewish infrastructure, and this is okay with them, for perhaps they are not so worried about the Jewish education of their children. You, on the other hand, were not worried because you understood that Judaism starts at home, and you are committed to raise your family with a strong Jewish identity. I just want to share a copy over here. Anyone could see it, but this is from the Pottsville Republican Weekender, Saturday evening, December 7th, 1974. Merrill and Rhoda are from Pottsville. And it reads like this, the caption under the picture: former local residents Merrill and Rhoda Abeshaus, whose house in Flagstaff serves as the city's only synagogue, light Shabbat candles with their children. Cheska, Ivan, Mickey, and Robin. Sunday, they will join Jewish people all over the world in lighting candles for Hanukkah. It was in Flagstaff that you raised 4 wonderful children and now 7 grandchildren, that today are proud of their Jewish heritage. 2 of your children and one granddaughter are currently teaching in Sunday school in their synagogues. Merrill and Rhoda, your dedication on behalf of the Flagstaff community goes way beyond the Jewish community. Merrill, besides being an outstanding orthopedic surgeon and founding Northern Arizona Orthopedics, which later became the Summit Center, you have both served on boards of so many local organizations. Merrill, you have served on the Flagstaff Beautification, Public Art Commission, Flagstaff Symphony Board, Northern Arizona University Lumberjack Athletic Association Board, as well as serving as its president. Merrill was chief of staff at the hospital when it was just built, and was also instrumental in the building of the physicians and surgeons office building. Rhoda, you have served on the Flagstaff Summer Festival Board, the district chair for Northern Arizona Girl Scouts, directed the Girl Scout Day Camp at Fort Tuthill, volunteered for many of the public schools, from office work to tutoring, served several terms as president of the Coconino Council Medical Auxiliary, worked backstage for many years with the NAU Opera Theater. But on a personal note, when there is a crisis in Flagstaff, in our community, Rhoda, you are the first person that I call. Whether it's someone in the hospital that needs food or to be visited, someone struggling with chemo and they need support. Even the difficult process of tahara, the ritual bathing of a Jewish person that has passed away, you are ready to help. Rhoda, you have a huge heart and are from the kindest people I know. To sum up how important and instrumental the Abeshauses are in our Jewish community, when the mayor has a question about something in our Jewish community, he calls the Abeshauses. Merrill and Rhoda, your outstanding support for Chabad of Flagstaff, while being founders of Heichal Ba'oranim, speaks of your selfless interest for the welfare of our Jewish community. The bottom line to you is that every Jew in Flagstaff have a synagogue to call home. To you, what is most important is that Judaism in Flagstaff be strong for many years to come. Merrill and Rhoda, you founded the first synagogue in Flagstaff. You built a beautiful family, strong in their Jewish identity. You have built a life full of good deeds and have earned an outstanding name for yourselves in Flagstaff and beyond. In the synagogue, there's a tradition to make a mishaberach when someone is sick. And I know that when someone in the Abeshaus family is not feeling well, there are prayers all around the world happening on their behalf because of the great work and the great friends that they have made over the years all around the world and our country. You have touched the lives of so many, including mine and Chaya's, and for that, we are forever grateful. Ladies and gentlemen, please give your attention to the screen.
Meryl and I came to Flagstaff in 1972. There was absolutely nothing Jewish in town. We learned that there was another Jewish couple living here, and we contacted them. And we asked them what the chances were of a synagogue starting, and they said, oh, maybe 10 years down the road. About 6 or 8 months after we came, the Bermans arrived in town, Ray and Hilda Berman. They had a vast knowledge of Judaism and could read from the Torah, which the Ritz and we could not do. And he felt he didn't have 10 years to wait to start a synagogue. And he wanted us to move on it now, immediately.
So we put out a call, not literally, but figuratively, to try to find other Jews. And we found them all over the place. We'd look in the phone book, we'd find a Cohen, and if he wasn't Jewish, it at least refers to somebody else who was Jewish. So that first Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah, we had about 27 people at our service in the house.
The synagogue, incidentally, was named by Hilda Berman. She came up with Heichal Ba'oranim, which lightly translated as Temple in the Pines, because she felt like that's what we are, the synagogue up here in the mountain in the pines.
We had our synagogue meet in homes. Then we graduated to facilities in town, such as churches, Little America Basement, and purchasing a building that we got at a sheriff sale. And from there, we kind of plateaued. And we got a phone call from Rabbi Dovi. He was interested in coming to Flagstaff. He had made inquiry, I guess through the Chabad channels, that there was a university here, there were Jewish students here, and there was no Chabad here. I didn't think that we really needed another synagogue in town. We had plateaued ourselves and we weren't making progress. I just said, Dovi, I don't think there's enough Jewish things here for you to come. And that was kind of the end of a cordial conversation. I gave Dovi a call back and we had a conversation. I said, Dovi, I changed my mind. I explained why. I said, yes, I think you should come and see what happens. What I didn't know about Chabad, I didn't know that once they make that commitment, it's a commitment for life. And that just about blew me away when I found that out subsequently, because Rhoda and I were both concerned that Chabad was going to leave town if it didn't work well for them. And Chaya and Dovi both said, no, when we make a commitment, we're here, we're not moving.
Chabad started small in Flagstaff. Dovi and Chaya had a little apartment. And I think the first time we went was for a Purim Megillah reading. And we went for a Shabbos dinner. And I remember going and baking challah there. It was getting a little tight. Now then they moved into their home and everything took place in the house. Now there's a building that's a rented space.
It's just mushroomed into such a larger presence of Judaism in northern Arizona. All these, which I wouldn't even call little things, but you put them all together, and it's just made Chabad a big, positive, major northern Arizona presence, for which Rhoda and I are very appreciative. It's good for the community, and it's good for Judaism. It's good for Chabad. We're grateful that they're here.
One of our goals when we came to Flagstaff was to see a Jewish presence in northern Arizona. And Heichal Baranim, I feel, has done a good job of doing that. But I can't foresee the future. But with Dovey here in Flagstaff, I know that Judaism will always be in northern Arizona.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Merrill and Mrs. Rhoda Abeshaus to the stage.
Rabbi Dovey and Chaya, when you first asked me if we would be honorees at a dinner, I was so touched and emotional that I did what I usually do. I cried with joy. Of course, if you ask any of my children, they will tell you I cry very easily, with joy, with sadness, you name it, I cry. If I try to speak much longer, I will just be up here crying. So I'm going to allow Merrill to do the talking for both of us. However, I just have to say, I am thrilled that all of our children are here. All but one of the spouses, 3 grandchildren, niece, nephew, spouse of his, friends and family from all over have come to join us tonight. I thank all of you and to everyone else who has come tonight to make this a special evening for us and very special for Chabad.
Rhoda says that she cries, but I have to tell you that with the welcome that we've had tonight, I think I'm going to cry also. 2 weeks ago, Sports Illustrated came out with their 60th anniversary issue, and in their Dear Reader column, they wrote that anniversaries are no time for modesty, and that they were very proud, Sports Illustrated being very proud of what they have done over the past 60 years. Well, all of the 10 honorees who are up here tonight, having received awards, are very proud of what we've all accomplished. We're also gratified for the opportunity Flagstaff has afforded us to do what we have done. It's been a labor of love. Woody Allen says that 90% of life is just showing up. And I've used that phrase a number of times in letters to the editor and emails to the NAU boosters, trying to get the fans to just show up at NAU games, especially when the Jacks had a particularly key home game coming up. But Woody Allen only had the just showing up part of life partially correct. Showing up is good, but showing up and doing something is a whole lot better. And I'm not talking about the 10 of us anymore. I'm not talking about us, but I am talking about Rabbi Dovi and his wife Chaya, who showed up at Flagstaff 8 years ago. They didn't just show up. They showed up and they did. And they did something positive. From Chabad in a little house and one child to Chabad in a bigger house, 2 children, and to a larger rental property for Chabad, more children, to a doubling in the physical size of Chabad, even more children. I think that's 5 by now. And along the way was a beautiful 2-acre parcel of land on University Avenue with a view of the peaks. That was purchased, and the start of a new Jewish community center had begun. One that will have a kosher kitchen, youth and adult classrooms, a library, a synagogue, a social hall, a lounge, bunk rooms for travelers, a mikveh. There's a philosophical and psychological saying that goes like this: I am what I do. If I don't, then I'm not. Meaning, if one's identity, and I'm going to use myself as an example, if one's identity is that of a doctor, and then that doctor retires, is he then not? Sometimes it seems that way. But not with Rabbi Dovi and Chaya. They are what they do. They are Chabad, 24/7, 365. That's who they are, and that's what they do. We, including the NAU students, are very grateful that they've chosen Flagstaff as a place to be and to do. Thank you, Rabbi Dovi and Chaya, for making this grand gala function dinner happen. And on behalf of the 5 couples who have received awards tonight, we thank you all of you, not just for showing up for the award presentations, but also for being part of our lives. Thank you.